Alright, this is going to be how to change a tire on one of these little bikes. The front tire is very easy, the back tire is a little bit more involved. First of all, you need a 15 millimeter socket. Rip these off. And then when you take these nuts off, there's going to be a washer behind it. And these washers have a little L bracket on them. If you notice the little top thing, that little thing goes in the hole on the top of these. It's a safety feature, so if the nut comes loose, it don't fall off. So set those aside, don't lose them. And then just tap it off. And you got your wheel off the front. It's kind of easy. And what I have is a hole in my bench. I kind of use that to hold it steady. This tire's fairly flat, but it could be flatter. The flatter it is, the better. And unfortunately, this valve stem is the one that I can't really get to with my tool, so I'm just gonna have to try to bust it through. I'm just using a regular flat tip screwdriver to get it out, because you don't really have to worry about puncturing the tube. Tube's already got a puncture in it. So you get under the lip of the bead and you pull it up, and then you hold it up like that. And then I get another one in there. Of course, I did this backwards. Hi. And then you go right next to it and you pop it up. And then you hold that one and you pull the first one out. And you just walk on down the line. You hold that one and walk the next one over. And just keep going down the line until you have a loose tire. Now I got the top bead busted away from the rim, as you can see. Now what you're going to do is poke through the valve stem, poke it all the way through, and pull it through from the other side, so you can pull the tube out. This takes a lot of hand strength, so just be aware of that. Now I got this tube out. Now you can find a hole in these. You can inflate them, find the hole and put a patch on it. But usually once they start leaking, they just continue to leak. These are kind of problem children for these tires. You want to inspect the inside, make sure there's nothing sharp that would have poked through the inner tube. And also check on the inside of the tire. Make sure there's nothing rolling around in there, nothing sharp sticking through that would have poked through the tire. And look at it as visually, and then check it with your hand too. Make sure there's nothing there. Alright, when you're satisfied there's nothing there, get your new tube. And I usually buy these heavy duty tubes. They seem to fare better than the regular tubes. It doesn't really say anything. So anyway, you can see these have the angled valve stem on them, which I think is a little bit easier to deal with than the straight up ones. So anyway, you pull the cap off, set your cap down, and then you're gonna stick your You're going to stick your tube in there. You're going to try to fish the valve stem up. Now, these valve stems are a real pain to get started. Especially these long ones. So I'm going to pause while I do this because it's going to take a minute. Okay, so after a great deal of fighting, I finally got it in. It's a real, like I say, it's a real pain in the butt. You have to stick your finger in there, you have to wiggle it around and try to hook it up and get it in there. So anyway, what you're going to do is you're going to lay the rest of the tube inside the rim, not just the tire. It has to go actually over the lip of the rim and onto the rim. Because if it just lays inside the tire, as soon as you start putting the tire back on the rim, you're going to have a pinched tube, and that pinched tube is going to make a hole. So I guarantee it's going to be a hole. As soon as you fill it up, it's going to, you know, leak all the air out, and then you'll be right back where you started. So anyway, what you do is you lay it in there. Since the tube's flat, it's kind of easy to lay in there, and then you take the inside lip of the tube. You can see it kind of sticking out there. And then you take that lip and you tuck it over the rim with your fingers. You just start at one place and you work it around and stick it over the rim with your fingers. And this will kind of prevent it from getting stuck. Then you kind of move the rim, or the tire on the rim. If you see, it can cant the inner tube, the valve stem, it'll cant it one way or the other. So you want it kind of straight, all right? So you got it straight. Now, this is where I say do not use screwdrivers, because the edges on these screwdrivers are very sharp. And if you do catch that tube, it's going to poke a hole in it. So what you need to get, they're little tire spoons. You can order them on eBay or Craigslist. And they're little tire spoons. They have a little hook for a spoke on that side, which I never use because it doesn't fit anyway. And then this side is the spoon side you're going to be using. You can see it kind of angles one way, and that's the side you're going to hook on the rim on this side. So you hook this, you start where the valve is, and you kind of hook it. Then you kind of hook the tube, or the rim, and then you push the tube down over it. Okay, now you hold it with this hand, and then you go with this hand, and you go over just a little bit, and the same thing. You hook the side on the rim, and then you peel it over. Okay. Now these kits come with several. I think they come with three of them in it, and you kind of need three because it just kind of walks off if you don't have three. So anyway, I'm holding it down on this side. I'm holding it down so that it doesn't pop back out. And then you're going to hook it all the way around. You're going to keep going, working your way around. Okay, and now here I can pull the second one out, hold it, and then hook it and pull it up and over, pull that one out. And I'm holding this one down with my forearm. This one's being held down with my forearm so that it can, so that it won't slip out. And then I can pull the second one out and work my way down. Okay. Now this is where you need long arms. Go all the way across, holding it down with my elbow. Hook it and pull it. Okay, now I'm going to let that one just kind of sit there because there's not much pressure on it right now. I'm going to hook this one. And the closer you get to the end, the closer the bites should be, because it's not going to want to stay. You have to actually stretch the tire at this point. So you can see how stretched out it is here. So you take smaller bites. So you don't go in quite as far. So I'm taking maybe a 2-inch section and I'm pulling it up, and I'm gonna have to hold this one while I pull that one. Okay, I'm gonna pull this one out, Then I moved on down the line, another 2 inches. And you're just going in just enough to hook the rim and pulling it down, all right? And then this one should be almost maybe next to the last one. Then you hook it in there on the rim and you pull it up, okay? Now you can see here how it just barely is hanging on there. Sometimes you can just push it and it'll pop right in, just like that. Then you take your screws out. Make sure your valve is straight. See how your valve is straight up and down there like that. And then you just, when you air it up, you make sure it's even around the rim when it inflates. Don't overinflate these because they will blow when you're riding them. That's pretty easy. And then when you put it back on the bike, I'm going to show you how to put it on the bike now while I'm at it. Put it back on the bike. What you want to do is you have to get this in there. All right, and then you get your washers with your little hook. Your washer with your little hook. You put the hook in the hole over the axle, and then you put the hook in the hole. All right, and the same on the other side. Hook in the hole. You put your nuts on and tighten them. Don't strip them. They don't have to be super tight, but give them a good ugga-dugga. And that's it. That's how that goes on. And then these covers just go on. They go on there, and then you have 2 little Phillips head screws that goes in those holes that hold them on. Pretty easy. Pretty easy. I'm confident you could do it. All right, so to remove the rear on these Mx350s, also the pocket mods, you have to take this, you have to loosen up this brake cylinder here. I use a 5/16 on the inside or the outside, and I don't have another 5/16, so I use a 8mm on the inside wrench to hold. There's a nut on the back side of that. You zip that off, and then I'll brake here, and I'll take now you got the brake off, well loose anyway. Just take the nut out, or the bolt out, and then the nut on the back side, and then so that's all loose and ready to go. Now this side, what you're gonna have to do is you're gonna have to take these screws out. These just hold into the chain guard, and then you pull out the chain guard. I'm gonna go ahead and set this up, leave it running, so you can watch in real time how to do it. It's not difficult. It just takes time to do these things. Make sure you hang on to these. If you lose them, they're not really replaceable, so you want to hang on to them. And there's one up here. You don't have to remove that one because that one just holds the 2 together. Now, if you pay attention, this one, this one that I just pulled out of the front here is a little bit longer than the other ones. All the other ones are the same. This one's a little bit longer. On some of them, this is actually like a wood thread. This goes into plastic, but this one actually has the insert, so it's a metal thread. And then you just pull this up and over and off, and this comes right off, just like that. Now what you're gonna do is you see this is your chain tensioner, and you're gonna push down on that, and then get your chain, and you're just gonna walk it off this way, so the chain is off of the sprocket, you know, so it's nice and loose. And just let your chain tensioner sit up there like that. That's all you have to do. Now, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna loosen the rear axle. And this again is the 15mm, and pay attention because there's different size washers on these. All right, there's a thin flat washer on the outside, and then there's a thicker washer on the inside, particularly on the brake side. So pay attention to which washer goes where. Okay, so you keep these two together, and then on the other side, you do the same thing. Now, be prepared because this is going to want to drop straight down. I don't know why Razor decided to design it this way, but seeing it drop straight down. All right. And you take this nut off of this side. Let's see. Take the nut off of this side and the washers. Okay. Pay attention. One's thick and one's thin. The thinner one goes with the nut side, and then this whole brake just slides right off. Now you get that free from your chain, and your tire is free. And you can break down your tire the same way you did on the front one, and you can watch that in the other video how to do that. And good luck.